All right, friends, getting those other Fiats running really makes me want to hear Freddy run. So why don't we see if we can make that happen right after this? Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Man-Rieckers the Oliver man, and this here's Freddie the Fiat, the 1450 that we have loved. We traded a 1365 that we acquired to viewer David, and he got this. He had this one, and I didn't have a 1450, and for what he wanted to do in his little operation, the 1365 was a lot better fit for him because, for one, parts availability is much better, and for two, this is a pretty good size horse and he didn't really need that to speak of. So 1450, one of the original two models of Fiat that Oliver offered, and I really like it. This is one of my favorite tractors to drive, believe it or not. This is one of those things where when you're running it, even though it's small, low down to the ground, you feel like you've actually got some guts behind it. I mean, it is a horse. So the only thing is, it's very hard to start. The starter is not really that great anymore. And last I checked, a new one is $900 from Germany, and I'm just not there yet. I might get there, but I'm not there yet. So let's see if we can make this happen. Old Freddy likes, I gotta remember how to even run him. It's been a while. Let's give her some battery pack and some, the jump pack jumped off, hence the name jump pack. We might not have very good success here, friends. Okay, let's try again. We gotta try to get the jump pack thing to make good connection on there. Now, I don't think we're gonna get her today. Whoa! Well, that's unfortunate. He's more of a warm weather kind of guy, and that's really bums me out though. I mean, the fact that the jump pack is making absolutely no difference. That's not good. We probably should charge the battery. I was just double checking. I knew I turned it on, so that's not the problem, because see, it registers. But I was thinking there's a problem with this. Yeah, this ground switch, it like bleeds through some ground. So maybe it has totally killed this battery beyond recognition. It usually, if you can get it turning over, it will finally take off. It's very, it's strange. But the 1450, yeah, it's got some quirks about it. Let's try it again. Maybe it'll... It was so energetic there for a minute. I think my jump pack is on the way out, because it seems to me like it just doesn't... It should have started more stuff than it has started today. We used it... Today's the same day that we worked on that 1365, and I used it on there. But it should have started that and this before needing to be charged again. I mean, I don't know, friends. I'd like to recommend this, but it was really good when it was new, but I'm thinking now about trying to get one of those little ones everybody said were so great, those little Noco, little tiny square ones that look like they have no possible way to start something at all, but everybody says, yeah, they'll start anything. So maybe that's what I need to do. I don't know if moving my ground closer to this would help me. I really can't. This is really not set up very good for jumping, unfortunately. I could put it to the ground bolt there. That's not going to do it. Aww. Price is Right sad sound. Oh well. Now, what do we want to do? Well, we could string in the pouring rain an electrical extension cord out here and try to charge the battery. That's probably about the only choice we're going to have. And then we're going to just have to wait a while. But the thing is, even with a fully charged battery, it still starts slow like that. I mean, it takes it a minute to get going. And then once it's warm, it'll fire back up just immediately. I mean, it's a good runner. It's just a hard starter. And I think that a lot of our trouble is the starter itself. And this is a weird thing because it's actually clamped to the side of the block. It has no mounting bolts. It just sticks in there, and then two bands hold it against the side. Maybe we need to take it apart one day and see if we can clean it up or something and make it better. Maybe that day is today? Question mark? I don't know. I don't know if we're that smart. Because if we do something wrong, we're gonna have a $900 bill we're gonna have to pay. Let's just think on that a little bit here and think on that. There's other Freddy projects that need to be done. One of them is, I don't like this hydraulic valve handle. The original was much like on the other tractors, and it would bolt using those two holes, and it would bolt, and then the handle was over there. But that's actually mirror opposite, I think, of what's on the other tractors, if I remember right. And I've got the stuff, I could make one. I just have to do some flipping around, and I have to cut a tab and re-weld it because the bolts aren't spaced the same. But I could make it work. And we need to do that sometime so that we actually, you know, then we can get rid of this. Because it can't be over here because we got all this going on. You know, you got to have this high-low. And then you got, this was the amplicouple thing, which I don't know how that works, or this one's obviously probably missing some stuff because it does nothing. So, I'm not real sure. Quick reduction unit. Amplicouple. In, ready, neutral. Unit is off. Gear mesh. Unit works when clutch is engaged. There's something about that. I read up on it. I don't remember how it works. Like you have to step on the clutch to get it to go in this amplicouple thing. I don't know. It'd be neat to get that to work, but that's probably not going to happen. Our jump pack is not recovering very good. We're only at 11.8. And that ain't going to cut the mustard on a Freddy. He just doesn't. He's more of a over 12 volts kind of guy. Well, we're starting to get smoke, so it would start if I could keep it turning over. I could get it to start, because that's how he starts. But I don't know. We gotta just, this is another one. We basically done very little to it mechanically. We just started using it, and it was just wonderful. I like it. And like I said, if it was a nice warm day, it'd be running by now. This just is not the nice warm day. So, I don't know. We'll give it a little bit here. Our jump pack is fading fast though, with every go. Can we take this off? It should, because that's how you get the hood up. That just sticks on there. Come on, Freddy. You know what you're made of. Oh, so close. So close. But no cigar. Huh. Well, I guess this isn't going to be a Freddy running video. I was really hoping that it would be, but it's not gonna. Looks like we might have to table this and come back to it later this afternoon when I get back the second time, you know. Take the jump pack somewhere and charge it up real nice. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll do something. But we haven't heard Freddy run for a while, and it's really getting me. I really want to hear Freddy run. We got all of our new bolts put in it, so it's complete now. We need to do a little more work on our grill. It's starting to grow some green stuff there. We should probably wash Freddy. But if we did a little work on that grill and snazzed it up, we'd have something there, friends, you know. I have to say, I mean, the thing, like I said, it drives so nice. I can't put that into words. We changed that one hydraulic pump on it, and it steers like a dream. That was what was wrong with it. And now the only thing we really need to do is one day we need to probably investigate changing that hose before it blows and causes us bad sadness. But I'm worried about how hard that's going to be, because I just bet you that there's some unique thread somethings about that hose, and I don't know. I don't know if we'll get that configured right or not. I don't know. Good old Freddy. It's okay, Freddy. So that is another fun time when you are crazy and you like things to be exactly like they were as they were new. It was missing that pre-cleaner. I don't even really remember what it had on it when I got it. If it had a broken thing on it or what. But it's supposed to have that, and couldn't find one naturally, so I bought something that would fit on there. It was the style that was off of like a Ford, like a 4,000 or 5,000 Ford, and it's a lot bigger top, but the pipe would fit right on there. And then shortly after that, this one came available on an auction, and I paid a ridiculous price for it, but it is what it takes. It's exactly what it takes to fit on here. I actually had to get I don't think it had the center tube in it, and I had to get one to fit through there. So you got to be able to take it off so you can open the hood. That's one poor part of this design, was if you have to take something off to open the access thing, that's not really ideal, but I guess it worked. I mean, these are supposedly, or were supposedly, plentiful overseas as the corresponding Fiat model, and everybody says, oh, there's parts in the salvage yards over there for them, and there's none over here. So that's just how that goes. But sure, come on, Freddy, give us the onion. Nope. Okay, well, enough messing around. I think what I'll do is go try to find a cord that's long enough to get from point A to point B. And then I think what I'll do is try to see about, it would make sense to battery charge it because it's obviously, the battery's low from sitting. But like I said, a lot of that slow spinning is the starter. I mean, it's always like that. But if I get the battery charger put on here for a while, that would help it. If we battery charge, or what am I trying to say? Hook up the jump pack. That would also help our cause, so that it was fully functional. But I feel like this has gone on long enough. I tried to start Freddy here a while back and had the same result, and that's just baloney. I mean, it's time to get stuff going. There's no reason for Freddy to sit here in sadness when he could be in mild gladness, you know. And I think if I would back Freddy up, I could probably park something else in here too. This is not exactly how this was intended, but shed space is filling up fast, you know, even when it ain't much of a shed. We need to clean out all this crap. This is all that horse-drawn stuff I was talking about that somebody gave me to, you know, save it so that it didn't go to the scrap yard. But I think some of those planters are going to be yard art. That thing we need to just fix. Grandpa and I bought that at a auction. It's a wooden ring roller, which is made out of mowing machine wheels. It was kind of neat, but that's a project for one day. But basically, nothing under this shed is worth being under a shed. I mean, it should. We need to get it out of there and park little things like this in there, and then we can, yeah, make better use of what we got until we get some more stuff built. That's the plan anyway. Strange as it may be, that's the plan. So, extension cord, battery charger, which I'm not even real sure where that is at this point. I'll have to do some hunting, and then we'll make this happen hopefully later today if we get Freddy jazzed up. Yeah, maybe we should take the, if it wasn't such a struggle bus to take this grill off, I would take the battery out. But you gotta, I don't know, the way I got it, you gotta unbolt it. Hope I can even reach up in there to get it hooked up. I think I can. So we'll make it happen somehow. All right, friends, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I think I'm breaking several of Ohm's laws and possibly a few commandments, but we've got a battery charger going and a battery pack charging. So we will monitor this situation so that if heat is generated or flames appear, we can deal with that. But for now, it's working, and that's all you can ask for, you know? So we'll just let that do its thing, you know? It's, I wouldn't think that that's all the way dead, but it just sits here. But it has tried to start the tractor a few times, so it's possible. But yeah. Anywho's, I'll have to bring you back later after this works or doesn't work, one or the other, and also get a different GoPro battery because this one is about licked. Maybe I could plug it in. I got a third hole there. I could plug that into there maybe. That would help this, right? I'm roughly figuring in my head the amount of amps that this is taking, and I don't know. We might be exceeding some of it, but I don't know how many amps that draws while it's charging. So, I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Hopefully, before the fire starts, the breaker will do its job. But, I don't know. What you want to do is compound it with too small a cord and a lot of it. that'll do that. Don't do what I do, because what I do is stupid. So you don't want to do that thing. We'll bring you back later. All right, it's much later. The jump pack says full, so that's good. Gonna plug the battery charger back in. It can't hurt, right? I don't like to leave a battery charger running while I'm not here. That seems like a dangerous game to play. Also, what is happening here? It's sweating. It's actually like, it's probably like 20 degrees warmer right now than it was this morning when we were messing with this. So, Freddy's got a great chance of coming to life now. All the pieces are in place. And if that doesn't work, I don't know what we're gonna do. Take the starter apart, maybe. I did look up online, and I can't get a replacement from Germany. It has went down a little in price, so there's that, but it's still many dollar bills. But that's okay. Let's see what we got here. 12.7. Freddy, you're gonna do it. I know you are. Okay, Freddy, here we go. Come on. Starting to smoke, but oh, Freddy, come on. It's just not spinning it fast enough. It definitely would run if it was, you know, but we're giving her all she's got, and that's, it just won't go, friends. Oh man, come on, Freddy, come on, Freddy. Charging, that's good. Freddy. Look at Freddy sweating all that horsepower. Yep. Good, Freddy, good. What do our gauges show? Lots of charging, lots of oil pressure. No, don't die now, Freddy. You sit there and run. What a sweetheart. Little Freddy. Back in the game. Let's see if it'll pick this up. It should. It's never leaked out any hydraulic fluid before or anything. Oh yeah, Freddy. That's sweet. I got an idea to do something else, but to do all that, I got to move my wagon. Somehow it ended up over here in the way. I don't know if I moved it or the wind blew it, but whatever. But Freddy's trapped, see? So let me get this maneuvered out of the way. Maybe it would be better to go do the other thing that I'm thinking. No, I don't know. I just got so much on my mind that it's hard to figure out what I want to do next, you know? All right, Freddy's just been purring away. And yeah, what a little sweetheart. I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna try to start another one. And we'll probably just let Sleeping Freddy's lie today, because I gotta do some more homework here and get some stuff out. Oh, Freddy. There you go, Freddy. Will Freddy start back up? He should when he's hot like this. Doesn't take much. But it starts like that. It starts the hard way even in the middle of summer. Like it's not that it's, what I want to say, the outside air temperature isn't the biggest deal. I think it's just the fact that once it's been running, it's easier to start. I should probably also check at some point and see how much fuel Freddy's got in it, because I don't know that I've ever put fuel in Freddy other than maybe right when it came here. So that's probably something that is important, and we need to check that out. Our charging system works good. Our gauge, our light comes on. See, we had to Oliverize that dash and make it more 4-digity instead of fiat-y, because we just didn't have the right stuff anymore, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, I've been looking around here. That's what I was debating on doing, but it's really too late in the nighttime to start messing. But there's some more of that horse-drawn stuff that I was talking about that basically is just yard ornaments at this point, with the exception of maybe this planter here, which is a co-op, and I kind of wanted to see if I could, you know, make that more better. I think it could be saved. The boxes are rusted off at the bottom, but, or at least that one is a little bit, but the lids are excellent. Fertilizer, not so much, they're kind of non-existent, but I think a guy could fix that up. These little things here, they're pretty well, I don't know. It's another one. You could probably bring them back around if you worked at it, but is it worth it? Also, I'm not entirely sure what brand they are. They might be Olivers, I don't know. They got some part numbers on there. I need to dig out my horse books and see if I can, you know, determine that. But what I'm saying is this could all be rearranged in a much different way that was a much more productive way. And I could rearrange everything in here, even though this shed is nothing. It's very crap. It was built out of recycled stuff at the time, and it's just no good really, but it's better than nothing. If I would spend a little time bracing it, it would get us by until we could make something, you know. I got a plan, but it's got to happen in phases. But what I'm saying is, if I'd clean all this out and redo, I could reorient stuff, like put that head over here and put that wagon back in this hole where I could get more tractors in the end over there. And that part of that shed is a little bit better condition than what this is. At least a lot of it is, maybe not all of it. It needs a little work too, I see. But you know, you get tractors in from the end, it's easier to get them in and out. And I could probably get 4 or 5 in over there, and that would help our situation out, because we got a lot of little fellers like this that could go places. And then if Freddy was not here, then that means my corn picker could go back in here like it should, and those 2 corn planters there could be immediate yard art, you know. Slap a coat of paint on them and put it in a flower bed, because the wheels are junk. That one especially, see. I think they're both international check row corn planters, and like I said, they're just not really worth anything more than yard art. But I don't like to see stuff go to the scrap. These discs need to come out and be stacked up on something better. There's 3 drag discs here that are going to waste, and I don't like that. The bottom one is a cockshut co-op disc that we always had. This one's a Dunham disc, I believe, and the top one is an Oliver disc that I bought somewhere. But I need to get that up and out of the... We just need to lay that stuff all out and assess what we got, you know. Really, these things like this, I should probably get one of those wagon gear. That's kind of why I got those. I got a couple wagon gears. I could put a couple runners on there, whatever, and set these on there so that they were mobile and up off of the ground. And then we could figure out where to put them or what have you. But that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about, friends, because we could make a more efficient use of the crappy space we have if we just were to take our time and do that. And that would get us in a better shape until we get the stuff done that I want to do. Step one, I want a container shelter building thing, and that would get me a lot of space to put stuff, and then that would take care of some of this, and then yeah. So I don't know, just thinking out loud, but I wanted to hear Freddy run again, and I was bound and determined to do that today. So good job, Freddy. Hopefully now that you've run in recent times, you'll start easier the next time. Next one we're gonna go to is right over here around the corner if I don't fall over. Also, Freddy, I'll take my drink back. You don't need that. This sad sack, an 1800 C series, and I used to spray with it all the time, but I haven't done that for several years. And I don't know what we're gonna get out of it. I used to start it all the time, but I think the last time I tried, the battery acted dead. Why am I surprised at that? Also, I'm thinking, if I'm remembering correctly, this is the tractor that it needs the hydraulic unit pulled off because it's putting hydraulic oil into the rear end. And so that ain't good for nobody know how. But I did have this as a pretty sweet runner, but it's just been a while, and I don't like to let them sit that long without running. So we want to, what do we got? 10 volts. Our gas looks crap, but we're gonna try it anyway. It may not have any in it. It's got some in the bowl. It looks red. So obviously either the fuel tank has been lined or somebody's got something. I don't remember. It's been too long since I did this. Where do you want to watch from? We'll put you at that angle. Let's see what happens. I'm sure it's going to need choke. 12 volts. There we go. We got nothing. Okay. Wishful thinking. I knew it would be. That's okay. What we'll do is we will, first of all, we should check, make sure birds haven't made a big nest in there. It turns over great, just like we shut it off yesterday. I'm skeptical on the gasoline situation, and I just bet we don't have any, and I just bet that I don't have any. This will be a hard tank to gauge because this is one of those whoop-de-woo tanks, and I don't remember if there's a baffle in there or not. The other thing we should probably do before anything is get us a piece of emery cloth and sand on them old points a little bit, because I bet you they're corroded over from sitting, because it's probably been, I don't know, has it been a year since I had this running? I always try to start them when I walk by, because I know if I don't, then we'll be right back in this headache of stuff. It looks a little over full too, but it doesn't look watery, so that's okay. Aluminum block of sadness. that thing is very well possibly gummed up. I've had a lot of struggle bus issues with that particular one. This tractor would, for a while there, I'd have to stop at the end of every pass and take the carburetor apart. So it's possible that that's not doing us any favors. Maybe we should turn the gas back off before we walk away from it, just in case it really is the way that it is. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at that. In the cab floor is a piece of emery cloth. So obviously this tractor needs that treatment quite often. I couldn't remember, but I thought so. We're going to try to rig up our setup of sadness again, so that this can be assisting whilst we're okay. That's positive. I bet this battery's toast. It always did crank it over, though, even just lately, the last time when I couldn't get it to go. And then we're also going to do our inappropriate setup again. Don't tell anybody, but we want the jump pack to be charged good too. We don't want it to fall off of there either. This is the most bootleg redneck setup ever. Definitely not UL approved, but it works. So, ooh. And you know it's working because it sizzles when you set it down, you know? That's how you know. That was probably the one cord leaving the chat, because it doesn't want to play this game. But I got news for you, buddy. This is happening. That's charging, so we're good. So, let's walk away here. We'll get a screwdriver and get to the other side somehow, and we'll see what the points look like. Like I said, this was always a good runner. I don't know if I ever really... This is one of those tractors that just doesn't ever get a story or attention, because it was... I had it set up for one specific purpose. I bought this from a neighbor who bought it from somewhere alongside the road in Seymour, and I don't know, I think he had it running. I mean, whatever, he might have even drove it home, and then he put it in his building. He had a little lean-to that he built for some of his tractor collection he had for a while, and it sat and sat and sat and sat, and then one tire went flat and whatever, and he finally decided he was going to sell it because he never did anything with it. And so I saw it there. I knew he had it, and when he said something about that, I said, well, I'll buy that thing. And it was cheap. I can't remember. It might have been like $1,500 or something. And I'll definitely give that for a tractor any day of the week. So we aired up the tire and we pulled it over here. And that was an experience, friends, because that tire was hopping. The tractor was all over the road. He was riding in this one and I was just pulling. But it was crazy, all over the place, bouncing around. And anyway, we made it home, and I took the tire off the rim and did my usual thing there. Got that done. I might have done both sides, I can't remember. And got to tearing into it. This one, I think, is the one that had, you could tell somebody had worked on the head, because it was bare metal, yeah. So it had some work done to it at some point. But when I took it apart, I found out that it had several stuck valves from sitting in his lean-to, so I got them freed up without taking the head off. I just messed around with them and got them going, put it back together, got it running. It ran great. And then it's just another one of those, I kind of chased its issues for a while, and I was using it all the time for spraying, but then I wised up and realized it's a lot cheaper to just let the co-op spray for you, because of your time, friends, too, you know, and the amount of crop you don't run down. People don't think about that. If you run down one row of crop, that translates into acres of loss finally, you know. And if they do a third less, like I would have to make 3 passes for 1 pass, because my boom is 40 foot and I think theirs is 120. So it's a third less passes they make through it, and they can do it in what feels like seconds. I mean, they just fly through there, and all I got to do is just drive by and wave at them. They got her done, and that's it. I mean, yeah, people argue, oh, you're paying for water or whatever. Well, I'm also paying for the guarantee that if they wipe out a whole bunch of the neighbor's rare rainforest orchids, I don't care. It's not my problem. I say, you call these people, they're the ones who did it, and I'm out of it. And I like that guarantee too, because the way it is now, when people from the city think they want to move out to the country, then they complain about every time something doesn't go their way, and it's just worth it. It's the same reason why I pay a lady to do my taxes, you know. If they come after me, I say, whoa, pump the brakes. Talk to them first, because they're the ones who did it. All I did was give them the totals and say, here it is. So it's worth a little bit of money for the professional knowledge, or the safety net. I don't know how you want to put it, but after that, I quit spraying, basically. I kept this all together because I thought, well, maybe I'd do like a burn down or something if I got that 6-row planter done, but I don't know. That's the only reason this cab is still on here, because this cab ain't much. But it did keep some of the hazardous chemical off of my back so that I didn't start glowing when the lights went off. So there's that. Now, that whole time I was talking, what I was really doing was trying to buy my brain some time to remember where I might have left a screwdriver. And it appears that I am letting myself down. I'm going to have to go get one from somewhere, because I did not leave one behind like I thought I did. And you're going to say, why do you need a screwdriver? Well, because this has got a screw-on style distributor cap. I'm pretty sure it's still original. So we got to have that. I ordered, or tried to order, a new distributor for that customer's 1800 the other day, and I wouldn't be opposed to putting one on this too, you know, because there's so much, those new distributors are so much better. They actually even help them make more power with the way the curve is dialed into them somehow. So there's that. But anyway, what I'm saying is they were back ordered on them, friends, and that's sad, because last year I don't know how many of those things I bought, but I was I shouldn't have slammed that on that cord. I was a pretty big customer of those distributors. I bought a ton of them. And there's the gauge to tell you how long I haven't moved this. A tree is growing between it, so we should probably deal with that too before that gets out of hand. It's already out of hand, but oh, foam marker thing's junk. The plastic disintegrated. I'll have to see if I ever use that again, if the company will sell just replacement tanks. Oh, this is a struggle bus for no reason. Why do I do this stuff? Well, not just for you, but because I'd like to get this running and maybe put it to some better use than just sitting here growing trees. It's easier to use them if they run, and if they're not grown up in sadness. Now here I thought I could get by with this little filed off screwdriver, and the answer is no. It's gonna make me go get a real one, which is a real pain in the Knudsen, because it's a struggle bus. I think I can go over the front axle though and get out. So let me go do that, and I will bring you back when I get the correct tools, and we'll pull this off of there, and we'll see what it's like inside. But boy, it's been sweating today, but I guess that's partially because it's increased in temperature so much outside. But let me go grab some tools. Okay, friends, tell me how a guy can own 1,000 screwdrivers and he can never put his hands on the one he needs. How is this possible? I don't know. I can't remember. Are these I want to say that I thought maybe these were quarter turn, and they're not really. I can't remember. They're goofy, is what I'm getting at, and I hate them. And what I could do is, I didn't think about that, is the tack drive is right there. I could put a block off plate on it if I change distributors and just run the tack cable to the distributor. I might have to investigate that, because if that's what I would want to do, I might want to make one before I go up to that other guy's 1800 so that I could do it to that one. Okay, sometimes you can just jam this up here out of the way and Miracle will hold it there until right about the time you want to do something. I should have brought a light along too to see, because I can't see that, can you? Looks pretty nasty. Pretty sandy in there, isn't it? They're not really burnt, but they're kind of dark-ish. We'll clean up on them. I didn't put the battery cable on though, so we won't be able to tell if we... Well, let me think about that for a minute. No, I don't have anything hooked up to the... I was going to say maybe if the jump pack was hooked up, I could reach over and... Ooh, a little bit of a... All right, that is very dirty. Very dirty. I'm thinking very seriously about changing distributors in this one too. I also thought maybe I would roll it over so that we could, you know, see what was going to happen here, but I'm not having no luck. I wanted to see the points open. Like get up on the high side. Yeah, they're opening. That's really super sketch, isn't it? Somebody's just dabbled a dollop of silicone over it and looked the other way. And I promise you that wasn't me. That was some mechanic many moons ago that decided this thing wasn't worth doing the right thing. So we'll get her, friends. We always do. Alright. That's more better-ish. There. I'm not a fan of these. Have I said that before? This style distributor. I'm sure I put all this stuff on here new, the cap and the points, whenever we did, because it's got my style wires on it. So it had a complete tune-up, because it was a main fleet tractor there for a while. Then when I got that 1755, I seriously considered keeping the cab on it and using it, because it had hydraulic PTO and is just a nicer tractor to use. But ultimately I just hired out the spring, so that was the end of that. Okay, cell phone, we'll take you back away. Now, friends, we're gonna hope that's good. Let's check on the fuel problem. While we're talking about fuel, the other day when I did that video about the differences in the cab fuel tops, and I couldn't find the one I was looking for, here's one of them. See how this one's got that recessed, it's like tapered in there? That's the kind that would take an O-ring. So, and that one actually, I can't remember. No, that didn't, I don't think that came off the 1250 A. This was in the toolbox of it, and then realized that it had different style fittings and threads or something or whatever, but it came with the tractor, but it wasn't right. Okay, a very dark sediment bowl removal we're gonna do. We're gonna try to get that horse piss out of there or whatever that is. I'm thinking that this fuel tank has lining in it, if I remember right, but I can't swear you to that. And if it is, it's that red coat stuff, because I was hot and heavy on that for a while, but it eventually starts turning your gas red, and that probably means it's wearing out, but whatever. We're gonna kill one horse with a stone at a time, or whatever the saying is. Let's turn it on and see if it that's also a very bizarre fuel line setup. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so you can see we have nothing coming out. That's probably a pretty good indication of why it did not run. And maybe we already knew this. And maybe it's just plugged up. That's why I brought our old friend, Brake Clean. I can hear it going up into the tank. So it really is out of gas. How about that? Something that finally told the truth for a change. That's a wonder. So that's an easy enough problem to fix. Or rather it would be if a guy had gas on hand, which he probably doesn't. Because why would he do that? Why would he, even though he carried all the cans with him in the back of the truck when he went to town, why would he bring any along, you know? However, fret not, friends. This cloud of sadness has a silver lining, because we're almost out of daylight anyway, and what that means is this video is going to happen tomorrow. I'll finish it up. I'll go into town and get gas tonight. And you know what's in town? Delicious Mexican restaurant food. So we might just have to go make that happen and justify our trip to town, because we can't go to town for just one thing. We have to go, there has to be several things on the agenda if you go to town. So far I'm not seeing a downside to this. You're still going to get a video eventually, and I'm going to be smiling and satisfied, and that's always a good time. I'll have to look at the footage though and see if this isn't enough for a video. It might be. This might be like 3 hours of footage today. I don't know how much I've filmed messing with stuff, but this may turn into a much more involved project as well, because we may end up in the carburetor, as crappy as everything looks, you know. I'm thinking, although if it was out of gas, and I'm sure that the last time I would have run it, I shut the gas off and let the tractor run out of gas like I do usually, because that seems to make everything play nicer. Oh, look, here's another square fuel stick right here. We can double check here, but anyway, what I'm saying is the carburetor might be fine because of that, and then again it might not be. Okay, yes, you can get to the bottom of the tank, but you got to go at an angle, so you can't really get the accurate, and it is dry as can be, or dry as a bone if you prefer that saying. So we're gonna get some fuel and dump in there. We'll do way too much. We'll get like 10 or 15 gallons and dump it in here, and then let it all evaporate away again. But if I can keep gas in it, then I will, you know, keep starting it when I come by, because I like to go around in the winter time or whenever. It doesn't have to be the winter time. Oh, I about fell over, but okay. I like to go I like to start them all up, you know, go around and start stuff up, and then when you find the time you get to the last one, you go back and start shutting the first one off because they've run for 10 or 15 minutes, and that keeps them all ready to go. But this one definitely, it's in the will run, but needs some little things attention pile, and hopefully we can just hear it run, and then we'll know we aren't losing ground. We're just, you know, not gaining ground as quickly as we'd like. But yeah, full vision cab that's just practically junk, and it's missing one door, and it has a hole in the roof, but it did kind of keep some of the stuff off him. It's got a hole in the back window. That was handy because you could reach through the broken shards of glass and shut your spray handle on and off. But no, it's time to extricate this from that and probably ditch that cab. I like the steps. It's got really nice, as far as cabs go on these old tractors, it's probably got the nicest set of steps of any that you'd find, but I don't like this cab. It doesn't make me smile in any way, shape, or form. It's garbage. It's got some good glass in it. The door, windshield's cracked, never mind. So it's got this door that's good. So that's going for it. And I guess the back two panels there, and maybe three of them over here are good. Other than that, it's crap. But you know, what are you gonna do? But we get that cab off, then we can work on pulling the old everything off of there, because you got to pull that all up off of there to figure out what either your pump seal is leaking, or these, I believe, have that. I think these are like the 50 series that have the draft control linkage goes up through the pan, and when that seal goes bad, then it'll do what it's doing. And I'm almost of the mind that that's what it is, because it's a very slow leak, and it does it whether it's running or not. So that would be my guess, but it's probably both at this point. So the reason that I never did it was because A, cab, and that would be a nice extra few hours just getting that off of there. Probably more than that, because I would probably want to take the fenders off to keep them from getting destroyed whilst I was taking the cab off, you know. That's one thing that I did like about this cab, is it let it keep the fenders, because I like the factory fenders on stuff better than cabs fenders, you know what I'm saying. But I don't know. It was that, and then the other reason was, if I took that off, I was going to put a new hydraulic pump in. I'm not tearing that all off of there and leaving the old one in. So that's not getting any cheaper either. They're getting proud of those pumps. So it would just probably be a smart thing to do all that whilst we were doing it. Really nothing special about this. This is just kind of a plain Jane sort of tractor. It's got this underslung front axle, which people think is super cool, but I'm not really a big fan of that myself. It doesn't really gain you much in turning radius, but it does make the thing a lot more clumsy. I don't know. It's just a weird affair. I don't know. At first blush, you would think, oh, it's going to turn on a dime, but it really doesn't turn any shorter than like a late 55 series axle. Those things would turn just so short. I mean, so I don't know. But what I'm getting at is, we take the cab off, then what do we got? I mean, it's just another 1800, but one I didn't have, a B or a C series. I need a B series. I've got leads on some. One of these days I'll get one, and then we can make a video on the differences between all three and have them all three sitting next to each other. Because of the three, well, that one we worked on for the customer is a B series, and you look at it and you'd say, well, it looked just like this one. Well, close, but no cigar. You know, the biggest difference being that this one's got full hydrostatic steering like all the ones after it, and the 1800B still had that old style steering gear with the, you know what I'm saying. So different. Actually, no, His I think has that style. I've got that wrong, and I don't know if it was all of them or just that was maybe one of the differences in them. I have to look that up again. I think his B series has this steering gear in it, but it's got a straight non-telescoping steering column like you would find in a combine or something, where it comes down and the steering unit for it is up in here, kind of like those ones when they converted the 880s to power steering, or the 770. I think that's how his was put together. I'm pretty sure he didn't have the long shaft that runs down the side like the A series one does, but I don't know if that was an A series only thing and then they went to that and all of the B series were like his, or if there were some transitional and it was both ways, and or if his had work done to it and it was swapped over later the cheapest way possible, because you couldn't make it have a telescoping wheel without it changing the whole dash, because it just wouldn't work. But you could make it this style steering gear if you put in that straight shaft job later on. And so maybe that's what happened to his. I'll have to do some reading and see if I can find the answer to that question. I don't know if that's ever been documented anywhere or not without going through a bunch of cards, but I could see both ways on that. I could see that the B series could have been transitional with that, and some had and some didn't, or it could be that his just happened to be retrofitted to something different because of some problem that it had at some point in its past. But I don't know. Like I said, I've got a line on some B series ones too, so I wouldn't mind to get that just to complete the set. You know, when you got 2 out of 3, you got to have the third one. It's just, it breaks my brain to not have the whole collection. So that's how she goes. But anywho's, since we don't have any gas, I think we're gonna just leave this one here. That's, I guess, crappy for you because you don't get to hear it run, but you will in the next one. And you got to hear Freddy run, and that was nice. And just for fun, despite the donkey chorus back there, Freddy's been sitting here for probably an hour now. What do you say we see if he'll start one more time for the camera? I know you got it in you, buddy. No jump pack, nothing. It's been sitting for about an hour. Run, Freddy, run. Freddy likes to start wide open. If you don't, he doesn't want to run. But you see, it still cranks super slow, but he will run. So that's awesome. That's a wild Freddy. Will you idle? How low will you idle? You can't idle it too low, because what will happen, oh, headlights still work. I was thinking one was burned out. ADD, sorry. That one's gonna burn out soon. See, I told you it would. That was all she wrote. I know it well enough by now to know when stuff's about to fail. But anywho, so I don't know what I was even saying before I got sidetracked because the butterfly flew by. But what I'm saying is, you shut Freddy off by jamming the throttle all the way down. So that's why, actually, I think it says in the book to do this, to lift up on the foot pedal to make them shut off, not just Freddy, all of the 1450s. But the linkage here, I'd like to find this arm. I did some looking and never could, but this one is very, very wore. I mean, it's paper thin in there. So we're gonna have to address that at some point, but we're gonna ride that pony as long as we can and see what happens. And then like this end too is also very, look at all the slop in there. It's almost a full hole worth of slop. So if we tightened all that up, I think we could get it a little bit better, where like right now, if you jam the throttle too low, it'll kill it. And I think part of that's slot, but I can move this throttle. Look how far I can move the throttle before it does anything. That's that far. There's nothing happening. So, and that's all because of the slop and everything. Well, I guess that's not true. That's got a lost link in it. But you can see what I'm saying, if it makes sense to you. Never mind. I don't know anything. Here, this is the one I want to move. Look at how much play is in that rod. That's a lot. So that's what I'm getting at. But now we can put new headlights in Freddy, but we can put in ones we salvaged out of that 1250 for one more go, and then that'll burn out, and then we'll end up doing it the right way, like we should right now, but we won't. Good Freddy. So anywho, I had to take off my coat because it's so warm now. We're gonna leave this one here. I'm gonna get some more supplies so we can continue on what we were doing on that other tractor, but for now we're gonna leave you here with a happy Freddy, and yeah, we'll just see what we get into next time. We still got work to do on Freddy, and there'll be a lot more videos with him different time, mostly cosmetic at this point. You know, we've never taken the back end is kind of neglected. Those wheels are bright white, we need to address that, and fenders are rough, but he's a runner and a driver and a handy little feller. So until next time, friends, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.